Cavanaugh's Corner. I want to say thank you for coming back to the channel today. Today, I'm going to be talking about the new film, Star Wars, The Last Jedi. I've been waiting a couple days to review this. I saw this on Friday, and I really wanted to give myself a couple days to really let this movie sink in. Normally, I like to review the movie later that day or next day. Today, I really need to give this one some time. This was a very, very different Star Wars film. I can see this movie being very divisive. I can see it definitely going down in history as probably the most divisive Star Wars movie ever made. And I also can definitely see this movie becoming just very much a legendary film in the way of The Empire Strikes Back being in that same kind of category. Now, first and foremost, let me state here that I am not going to be spoiling this film. I will not be talking about the plot at all in this movie. I will not even go into details of certain little things that happen in the film. I will literally be talking around myself for the next couple minutes. So the review is not going to be the greatest review I've ever done, but I wanted to give you just my feelings about the film as a whole, and certain things that I thought were great and certain things I thought were not so great. So this video is going to be pretty nondescript, but kind of bear with me here because I really do not want to spoil this movie for anyone. I think, honestly, this movie may be the best-looking Star Wars yet. In terms of cinematography, this movie is gorgeous. I thought The Force Awakens was one of the better ones, but this is, honestly, this is the best you can get out of a Star Wars film. Johnson's direction, Rian Johnson, the director in this, has brought a sort of cinematic edge to this movie that no other Star Wars film has had before. This is a very different looking Star Wars film. Of course, it has its tropes, the wide shots, things like that. But Rian Johnson has brought something different to this film that I think is more artistic than any of the other Star Wars movies that's come before it. And I really loved his direction in this movie. I thought it was outstanding. The film does go in certain directions that I was not seeing at all. I was not expecting a lot of the twists and turns that happen in this film. There are quite a few moments that had the audience gasping, and I will admit that I was right along there with them. There's a certain twist that happens in the film that I heard a gentleman actually audibly swear in the theater, and you don't get that a lot. That is a very different scenario there. He was swearing out loud in the movie theater. Very, very different kind of reaction from a Star Wars film. I watched the audience walk out of this movie in just pure, a daze almost. They really didn't know what to do with this movie, and I think that's outstanding. I'm glad we got a Star Wars film that is not afraid to do something different, and this movie really does do a lot of things very differently. In terms of acting, Daisy Ridley as Rey is fantastic. Carrie Fisher, who I'm going to miss a lot, really is outstanding as Leia in this. She is at the top of her game in this, and it's really sad to see her go. And again, her character in this film is about as strong as she's ever been, and it's really sad that knowing that we're not going to get her to do another one of these, which is really sad. I love Carrie Fisher. I'm going to miss her very, very much. However, the real star in this film is, of course, Mark Hamill. And Mark really is at his best here. He is definitely the scene stealer in every scene that he's in. He is outstanding in this, and it's probably the best film Mark Hamill has ever done. I love his acting. I think he's a very good actor. He's an awesome voice actor. But in this, he really is in control, and I love the way he handles Luke in this movie. He did just a stupendous job. Much like the last film was very much like Harrison Ford's film, this is definitely Mark Hamill's movie. And honestly, every time he was on screen, I was very much like, I felt like a child again. He steals the show, but in a way where it's not, I don't want to see it's like pompous, but he really does. Every scene he's in, he just naturally walks away with the movie. And that's kind of what I wanted out of this. It's been a long time since we've seen Luke Skywalker on film, except for the 5 seconds at the end of the last one. He really did a great job in this, and I was very glad to see him kind of take this movie in his arms and really just deliver an outstanding performance. The movie, however, as much as I liked it, is not without its problems. The film definitely has some heavy-duty pacing issues. I can't go into major details here, but there is a subplot that happens in this film where certain characters have to go do something. And that subplot sucks. I'll be the first one to admit it. I really was not fond of that entire plot. It doesn't really go anywhere, but because of its importance to the film, there's no way it could be removed. So I can understand why they kept it the way they did, but in honesty, I should say, I kind of wish they trimmed it down a little because I think the movie would have flowed much, much better. I think the film also has some exquisitely shot action sequences, whether it be the space battles that occur in the film, or my favorite, there is a pretty outstanding lightsaber fight in the film, and I think that may be the best one of the series, honestly. I think it may be probably one of the best shots since the original series, and also for its emotional weight as well. There is a very, very intense scene, and again, not going to go into details here, but the scene really does keep you on the edge of your seat. And it's been a while since I felt like sheer terror in a a lightsaber duel, and I think it was about time that they did one that really pushed the limit of what Star Wars can do in terms of violence, which I thought was interesting. All in all, I think what I have to say about The Last Jedi is that this movie is not there to satisfy you. It's not afraid to challenge its audience, and it really does bring the series in a totally bold new direction. And I think it's about time that Star Wars did such a thing. I know a lot of people aren't going to like this movie. I know a lot of my friends didn't enjoy it for various reasons, but I think if you go into this film with an open mind and you're willing to kind of experience something different with a Star Wars film, I think you'll enjoy it as much as I did. I'm giving Star Wars The Last Jedi a 4.5 out of 5. I thought this was an outstanding film that had me thinking. It's truly surprised me, and not just once, it surprised me multiple times. And I also think it's going to be very interesting to see where they go with this with Episode 9. I'm Andrew Cavanaugh. I want to say thank you for coming back to Cavanaugh's Corner. Until next time, may the Force be with you. Always.